when all of these songs were written, it's probably, I think it's like spring, summer 2020. So there's a lot of change and turmoil and tension and a lot of things going on, and a lot of confusion. So I think, that definitely played a part in shaping a lot of these songs.
Yeah. A lot of uncertainty, a lot of, and just having to kind of navigate an uncertain world that we are all sharing, and not really knowing what the future looks like. I mean, like, we're both musicians, and also, like, at that time there was like you weren't playing shows, you weren't doing anything. Like, it just even identity complexes of like, am I a musician if I haven't played any music for 2 years? Like, it was like, who am I? There's a lot of that uncertainty, I think, just kind of boiling for a lot of us, not just us, but I mean us personally, absolutely, but also just in general. And I think there's probably some of that mood imprinted into what this is, and which probably speaks to like the idea of committing to change and not really necessarily believing in like that. All this uncertainty is kind of just coming to the surface.
Yeah.
And I think also too, in a lot of ways, on like a more positive note, given that everything was kind of shut down and everyone's like exploring new hobbies and doing this and doing that, I think that kind of also put us in a kind of a boat where we were trying a lot. I know I was trying a lot of like production things that I just spent so much time just kind of tinkering and like plugging stuff into wrong things and trying to get, different sounds. Yeah. And I think that had I had like a lot of other things going on, taking up my mental space and brain power might not have come to the same conclusions. And so it was this very odd mix of like, on one hand, freedom, but then on the other hand, kind of like creative freedom, but then very like strict control of in like a more social sense, where constraints, where you'd be waiting outside of like Trader Joe's in a line in order to get in, that type of thing. So it was this very kind of bizarre juxtaposition.
Absolutely, yeah. And then that freedom to experiment, the record is testifies to that. What are some of the interesting what are some of the experiments that you were conducting at the time that led to the production being as it is?
One thing that it's at the very end of the last song, Control, we were trying to figure out, we didn't want to go back to like the previous section, and so I had this idea of kind of just having like a hard stop/switch, and where it kind of it almost sounds like a tape machine stopping, and then we slowed everything down a good amount, and then had like a rough structure of the song continue, but like very slowed down. And
yes,
that's the type of thing that if I would have told myself prior that what if you tried this, type of thing on like paper, it seems like it would be a lot harder or like impossible to do that. And then there's a part after, I believe it's the first chorus in Seed, where we wanted kind of like a break between the end of the chorus and the start of the verse, and couldn't quite figure out what to do. And so I kind of cut the tail of Matthew's last vocal and arpeggiated that into like a major 6 chord. And so it's his voice playing over and over and over again, and then put like some interesting like bass stabs on it. And then I took some drum sounds and I sped them up super fast so they sound kind of like crinkly almost, and like little chirps. And then Matthew came in and had this kind of like dueling guitar part on it that ended up like, that section ended up being like one of my favorite sections in the entire album.
Yeah, absolutely. I know the section that you mean, and I
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we play it live, it's really fun because Matthew's doing like one half on the guitar, I'm doing one half on the keys, and
yes, it's like a communication. Yeah, it's super fun. Like, you know, it'll be like, it's like a call and response, and then it's just like lines up. Yeah. Yes.
Recreating that live, and then at that point, of course, you've got
Jeff and
the friends,
Janessa.
Jeff and Janessa involved as well.
We love them.
Can you reflect a little bit on, so perhaps emerging from creating the record and making all of these production choices, and then being able to play the songs live, and being able to do so with your friends. Can you reflect a little bit on that transition as we kind of build up to the Ice House July 29th?
Yeah, that one, you know, we had completed this EP and some other songs prior to even taking a stab at the band, so we kind of made it without. I personally don't like when I'm making a song, thinking about how to play it live while I'm making the song. I just want to have ultimate freedom to do whatever, and then like figure out the live stuff later. And so it took a lot of reverse engineering and with all these moving parts to figure out how to recreate it live. And we didn't want to use backing tracks because we wanted it to feel like a band and not just kind of like keyboard karaoke. So essentially we took like all of the sounds that were like very integral to the song that weren't necessarily guitar or synthesizer, and loaded them into a sampler that I play. And that kind of covered a lot of the bases. So the live show does sound, on certain songs, can sound a lot different than the record, but I think that's something I personally enjoy, because if you like our music, you're kind of getting two different experiences.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I recognized some of these songs, of course, from enjoying your live sets, and it was really exciting to discover, this is the studio album, with all of its complexity and rich tapestry of sounds. And I knew this song, I knew like some of the lyrics and the structure of the song, but now I'm encountering the song on the record. Yeah,
and I mean, and our philosophy has always been, yes, we don't want to have backing tracks. We want things to be like organic, and we want to like recreate the song, but it's more about like recreating the soul of the song than it is about recreating the sound of the song.
Right.
So, like Jeff will maybe be playing a different beat than is necessarily on the recording, but also the recording is specifically like this. But as long as like the soul of what is happening in like the song is like because it's communication. We're communicating these ideas, emotional ideas, philosophical ideas, And there's many ways to articulate those things, and you can articulate them one way in a record, and you can also articulate them differently in a live organic thing. And it's a lot more fun to be playing like with a band that had like that we're not playing to a backing track. It's like, and every time we play a song, it's going to be slightly different. And
yeah, you don't need the unnecessary constraints.
Yeah.
Of needing to recreate this kind of
Right.
one
And
thing.
I think too, from doing a lot of, like with my solo project, YYY, we had been heavily reliant on backing tracks, and I think it worked out well, but at the same time, I personally kind of felt a little exhausted from those constraints. So coming into this live band that we have now, it feels a lot more like we are playing the songs versus listening to them, I guess.
Totally.
yeah, and I've come also from like a background where I played in my own projects where there is the backing track, and that feeling can oftentimes be like you're either right or you're wrong. Like you're either doing the song. It almost feels like Guitar Hero-y, you know, like I'm either like doing it right or I'm wrong.
Exactly.
But with a live thing, there's a little bit more expanse to like, even if I like mess up a little bit, everybody else can react, and maybe then it becomes right. Even like that little mistake is right because we're all picking up where that thing was a mistake, but like we're all landing here and we're going somewhere, and this communal effort of pushing things instead of it being like I'm either performing it right or I'm performing it wrong, and like that dichotomy happens a lot. I've experienced with when you're playing to a backing track, and also it's a stifling kind of mentality to perform that way. And nothing against it. Like there's certainly strengths to having those sorts of things, but also just I think we both consciously just were like, we don't want to have that kind of experience for this band when we're performing. We want to have like it has to be organic. Sometimes we'll play a song a little faster. Sometimes we'll play it a little slower. And
I think also too, like the backing tracks are so unforgiving live, where if you mess up on a bar or you miscount, you're locked in for the rest.
Be derailed for the
you
rest.
can
of
be
like,
derailed for the rest of the song. And
if the song has the time signature shift, that's going to be very Guitar Hero-y.
oh yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
And I think too, it's it also, like with certain songs that we haven't released yet, but we've been performing live, a lot of times the live interpretation has had a big influence over, because we've been playing the songs over and over and kind of like distilling them down to their purest form and what they should be. And I think that is really informing a lot of how it's going to sound on when we release these other songs.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I mean, it started as like, this is just me and Austin working on this stuff, and now that we have this these other people on the team, Janessa and Jeff, we are working on these songs actively, and it was really changing kind of like how the actual song is. Instead of us just being like, let's articulate this song, now it's becoming like, let's all figure out how this song is supposed to go.
You're all being with the song as you perform it live.
Yes.
And getting to know the soul of the song.
Yes, totally. And it'll change sometimes, like how we think it's like we'll have like basically a whole kind of sketch of what the song is, and then like Janessa or Jeff will have like these ideas that come up that like really change what the song is, and it's like, oh, it's these contributions that are so valuable that we wouldn't have come up with ourselves, and are super. It just like I'm super grateful for that, and it's just like it's become a much more collaborative experience having like the live band, more so than it's just like we're just playing these songs live, and that's what, like, now it's become much more of like an ingrained like part of the writing process.
Totally.
And I think also the chemistry of us four is incredible. We're all like basically best friends with each other, and you know, go out and do stuff like as a band that doesn't necessarily pertain to music.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that's it just makes like everyone look forward to band practice.
Yeah, that's tangible. Like when I've been to shows of yours and just seeing the friend group hanging out at the show, and then playing the show. I think I got some nice footage at the Amsterdam.
Oh, right
show.
on. Yeah.
So I'll share some of
I had shingles.
You had shingles. Yeah,
I was like, oh god, I don't want to revisit that time of my life.
Yeah, you were in so much pain.
I was like, oh no. I hope I was totally normal and cool the whole time.
Matthew had to, she's like just sitting down
it's
at every
overrated.
band
You were
practice, like
cool.
hunched over
Okay,
with his
cool,
guitar.
good. Yes, that was a not fun chapter of my time being alive. I hope I was cool and normal. I'm sure I was. I'm sure I was.
Well, the conversation anticipated the turn that I was thinking would be a good one, bringing in Janessa and Jeff and highlighting, well, now that you're playing shows again and you know for sure, we're musicians. Here we are, doing what musicians do, playing a show. I was going to ask whether that had an impact on how AESHA Minor is evolving and the songwriting, and the answer is
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, speaking of your point, also, like, we were talking about how during the pandemic and things, like, not being able to play shows, not even being able to be a musician, rehearse, do anything, was, for me, like, a little bit identity destroying. It was like, and playing with this band and playing with these people who are, like, my best friends, it's been like such an excellent, joyful experience to be able to play and be able to express with other musicians who are also thinking critically about what we're doing and having opinions about how things are going, and
who really like care about what's going on and what's happening. We all have so much like love and thought that we bring to the table in this. That we never get the feeling that any of us are just kind of like along for the ride. So to
nobody's
speak.
phoning it in, and we all care about each other, and we also care about the project that we're doing together. And it's been so excellent, and especially coming from the space of uncertainty and not knowing where things are going, when you're going to be able to do things again. And it made, I think, all of us maybe a little, like, for me, you can only speak for me, making myself, like, seating myself back in the identity of a person. Like, this is an expression of who I am. I am a person who, like, does music, performs music, and having this team to do it with that I trust very much with, like, the creative process, and because that can also be a tender emotional space to share even just things, and to be able to like, not just like I'm dictating how the song goes, you're gonna play my song, but to let everybody into like the experience of like, we're writing the song and this is what I think this song is and what it's about, and then somebody else has another idea about it, and letting that inform what the song is about, or is
reanimating the song, discovering its soul together in that moment.
Exactly. And that it's such a gratifying experience to do that and share that with Austin and Jeff and Janessa. And
very interesting and fitting with the themes in the record too, to reflect on this awareness of, under certain conditions, when I can't meet up and hang out with my friends and I can't perform music, then there's this impact on my sense of self. And then on the other side, when I can do those things, there's this impact on my sense of self, and both tides are guided by the angle of the waning moon. And I think the awareness of, okay, the self-doubt will grow under certain conditions, and the sense of grounded sense of confident, this is who I am, will grow under certain conditions too. And the awareness of that and communicating about that, I think, is an important ingredient to the simple love.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. Yeah.
So you too, viewer, could participate collaboratively in determining the evolving sound of AESHA Minor if you come to the show.
True. You too.
Which is at Ice House on July 29th. And let's just close by highlighting what other bands are playing the show. Anything else you'd like to highlight about that show?
So we have Tacklebox and Mini Golf also playing the show. Our record's already out, actually.
Yeah. It came out a little bit after July 4th. in our past.
Yes.
Totally normal.
After the event.
We all saw fireworks, totally normal.
Everything's normal. Everything's fine. So that's when that's the release show. Anything you got to add to that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. We played, I don't know, Tackle Box, Mini Golf. Very fun. Ice House is a great venue. I'm excited to play it.
We'll have some pretty unique merch stuff that's only going to be for sale at that show.
Oh, very
specifically.
Nice.
I already got the beanie and I lost it. Maybe I need to get a new beanie, although it's not as necessary at this time of year.
But I mean, that's the once you get into winter, everyone's sold out of beanies.
Right.
Get him.
The great beanie shortage.
Get him while it's hot.
Literally get it while it's hot.
While it's hot outside.
We should use
Come to
that.
Ice House for AESHA Minor and stay for the beanie.
Stay for the beanie.
Leave with a beanie.
You never know when you're going to need
some
it.
other top secret event-specific merchandise.
Yes.
Yes. That we can't talk about here
No.
or ever. But you have to come to the show to find it. Yeah.
Nice. That's part of the soul of that event. It's going to be a very soulful event. I'm excited for it. And finally, what time should people come to Ice House?
So it kicks off at 9 p.m. And I don't know, probably go till midnight or so.
Yeah. Excellent.
Whenever shows decide to end. We might just, go on a fish jam for an hour and a half. So you never know.
Classic us.
Anything's possible.
Or play the Monster Mash.
Yeah.
Who knows what we'll do.
Or happy birthday to the tune of the national anthem.
That's also a thing
That we unfortunately do.
that we
Anyway.
Oh no, it's gonna be very fun. And also I'm just really excited. We've been working on this for so long, and to have like something tangible out there that represents what we are, that like to be able to share it with people is really important. And this is an event to celebrate that. So,
yeah, absolutely.
So I'm really looking forward to that and being able to like point to. It feels like an accomplishment, and and I'm looking forward to celebrating that with my friends, with everybody who wants. My mom will be there. You can meet my mom.
My parents will
I
be
have
there.
done.
Yes, you have done.
You're
your
definitely
parents.
going to be
You
there,
get
Mom
one
and
with
Dad.
my mom.
Yes, I'll check.
But I think like also we've got a pretty extensive back catalog of like songs that we've been making over the past 3 years that and we only have just this EP out. So like prior to the EP being released, it was kind of like we have both heard all of these songs just like a million times, and just like wanting to get them perfect for everybody else to hear. Like we're so amped up about it, and finally we can like let everyone else know why we're so excited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you continue to meet up very regularly, working on new material. And prior to AESHA Minor, you have collaborated a lot
That's
as
true.
well.
Yeah,
You put out like Christmas records.
One Christmas record, which is still fun.
It's a fun record.
It's fun.
It's
The cardigans. It's
a hit with the parents.
Whatever it is that you. I like the album cover.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, the accordions.
Accordions.
Yes, and our red and green turtlenecks and the accordions, and there's
Yes.
no accordion on the record.
We just found, for some reason, Matthew not only has an accordion, but has multiple accordions.
So it's even perfect, yes. For a person who doesn't play accordion, I have too many accordions.
You never have too many accordions. So you put them to very good use.
Yeah, yes, perfect use. Being photographed, not played.
Excellent. I'm glad that we got to celebrate that record cover unexpectedly at the end. That needs to be honored. Its soul is here with us, right?
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Excellent. Okay, so July 29th at Ice House. Let's all be there. Let's all bring our parents. It'll be a tough
bring
job
your
for me.
parents.
Everyone bring your parents.
Everyone bring your parents if you can.
My mom needs friends. Just kidding, Mom. I know you're going to watch this.
Everyone
She's
needs
friends with
friends.
my mom.
That's true. Never mind. She doesn't need friends. Leave my mom alone.
She's already got her
She's
friends.
jam-packed with friends.
In the end, I want nothing but a friend. Tell me good news. So bring your parents, bring your friends. We will all be there. It will be a lovely time at Ice House on July 29th. Come and celebrate AESHA Minor. Thank you for being here today for this
Absolutely.
conversation.
Yes,
Thank you, Simon.
You're very welcome. And Back to the City will be back next Thursday, 10 o'clock, for another Minneapolis music conversation. Thanks for going on this journey with us, everyone who did.